Hakimi, man's new hero. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on Hakimi or on the situation that seems to have, I don't know what it is. I think there's a sort of like excitement that a lot of men on the internet have had from this situation. It's been quite interesting to see the reactions to it.
Yeah, so somebody said they called him man's new hero. And it's a man 1, women 0.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I mean, what can I say? So, you know my take on this.
No, I don't. Oh.
Well, you don't know what my take is. You know that I tend to take the approach that I think that in where you're going through like a divorce, I think it's your duty as somebody who's the financially stronger party to support the financially weaker party, especially when there are kids involved. So I don't really side with whether it's a man or woman.
Okay.
It just so happens that in most cases, it's the man that's in a financially stronger position.
Okay.
It just happens that tends to be the pattern. But I don't think my views would be any different if it was the other way around. If she was worth £24 million and they were going through a divorce and Hakimi was worth 3 mil,
yeah,
I would expect that she would also be willing to part with however much of her of wealth that she has. That's just my approach, because I think that's how it should be in a fair society.
Okay.
I don't think it's gender specific.
Okay.
I think when you've been with somebody and you've built a life together, when that relationship dissolves, and this only applies in marriage, by the way, because marriage just has that status that comes along with it. And also if you have kids with somebody and you've been in a long-term relationship, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to.
So does the number of years you've been together count? Does it matter?
I think it should, and it should. I think the number of years does matter, because they've only been, it's a short marriage. 3 years, that's a short marriage.
Should we, as a society, put a figure, say, if you've been together for a year, this is how much you get. 2 years, this is how much you get. 3 years. Because the same with your employers, when you've been there for like 10 years and you're going for redundancy,
you get more.
The same amount they'll give one who's been there for 5 years.
I understand that thought process, but I think it's very hard in terms of when it comes to marriage to quantify that, especially when kids are involved. Because I don't know how long, fair enough, they've been married for 3 years, but how long was their relationship prior to marriage? So I think that should also be a huge factor in that, because maybe they've been married for 2 years, but maybe they've been dating for, I don't know. But I honestly don't know the numbers. But
anyway, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Hakimi, man's new hero. Men all over the world, even Francis Ngannou, the UFC fighters, tweeted in support of Hakimi.
Yeah.
The other guy, Tate guy, is under house arrest.
Yeah, he should be worried about his case.
Leg bracelets, but
under house arrest.
He's tweeting in favor of Hakimi.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, Hakimi has not even come out to say anything. And a lot of Nigerian men, my God, Nigeria Twitter sphere is gone AWOL, it's gone crazy. It's spiked like, everybody's now going back to become homies, but he beggars belief. I just thought at the time, I thought Sigmund Freud all over again.
Oh, yes.
The Oedipus complex, like men want to go back into their mother's vagina. Sorry for my language, that's what he said. He felt like that was happening all over. And Nigerian men did prove that.
Of course, and I, for me personally, I thought it was crazy, because I was just sitting there thinking, one, for most of you, this is far removed from your reality. You have far more important things to be worried and to be thinking about than by some millionaire who's going through a divorce.
Exactly.
And they were like, it's almost as if they were personally invested, like they were getting shares. And I was just like, I beg, bros, you don't have money in your accounts.
They were personally invested.
Go and figure that out first.
It's always been the case between any issues between man and woman, though.
True.
It's always been like that cat and dog fight. I don't know what it's because from the Garden of Eden, what Eve did to our father, Adam. Because now people say, what Adam failed to do in the Garden of Eden, this gentleman has done it for us. So I don't know if it's because of that.
By doing what exactly?
Like scoring one over women. You go back to high-profile cases like Emmanuel Boy, the former Arsenal footballer. The wife cleaned him out. He became homeless. This is a millionaire. Through divorce process, became homeless. And he claimed that what he did, because he didn't understand English that much and he wasn't educated, he allowed the wife to sign most of the paperwork. So she in turn just tricked him into signing paperwork.
But which is why, for me, right, in those certain circumstances, I'm like, you are Emmanuel. How much money was he earning during the prime of his career? Are you telling me that you did not have a lawyer? Because really, in those, like, I think sometimes you have to think about it from a logical perspective.
Yeah.
You should both have independent lawyers advising you.
Oh, no.
And he made enough money to have had independent
let's go back
lawyers.
a bit. Let's play
So
devil's
for
advocate
me,
here. So husband
if somebody takes advantage of you,
they dated, they're in love, and no one ever thought when you're in love that would happen. See what I mean? With hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, we can look back and say, oh, if the signs were there. But the two of them, the signs weren't there for Emmanuel Boy. He thought, that's my wife, the mother of my children. You seem to be, and it happens in ordinary relationships, you seem to be the one who's up front with paperwork. You just deal with that. So it wasn't that like
but
the sign
so I think
everything, his property,
everything,
his assets,
yeah.
She was managing
all his assets, his property, and managing him effectively.
Some people will say, no, I'll have to have an outside as an agent, but he trusted her to be whatever. I'm not saying I know the in and out of the whole sorry, but that's what he came up with when they found him on the street.
Yeah, but then he would have gone through divorce proceedings, which is what I'm
Oh no, the
saying.
divorce proceedings is where he didn't have money to go to court.
Okay, so that's...
And again, another
yes.
unfair system.
Which happens, yeah.
About the system, you have knowledge of law. He still had to pay court fees, even if she was clearing him out. So that's why men or boys from Nigerian streets are very angry, because they cited that. They cited the story of Jeff Bezos. I know Jeff Bezos don't care because he's a trillionaire.
I mean, Jeff.
They cited the case of Bill Gates.
Let's be for real. Jeff Bezos, there was his wife had every right, and I think sometimes people forget this, right? They're like, oh my god, his wife got 50% of this much. But when you've been with somebody, I say, especially for the length of time that certain high profile marriages that they've been for 20, 30 years, and this person has been there when you had nothing, I don't understand how people feel slighted when the woman gets such a huge chunk, because I'm like, there's no way, I'm sure, and he said it himself, that Amazon wouldn't have been what it is now without his wife.
Fair enough.
And in those circumstances, how then can you possibly justify saying that, oh yeah, you're the woman, you're taking half of my money, like you shouldn't be entitled to it? Absolutely absurd. So
is that the question here, that the woman's not entitled to 50%, or is it they thinking this is the direction men should head before you get into any relationship? Protect your assets by putting them in your mother's name. But again, we've had parents who swindled their kids as well. So
I was just about to say that it's human nature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because your mother can swindle you too.
Yeah.
It happens in families all the time.
I'm pretty sure Hakimi will find out very soon that when it goes back to mom, I need to buy that Louis Vuitton bag or something. Mom will be like, boy, I had a young boyfriend too who I was taking care of. We don't know, but what does this tell you about men? Because the last time we was sat here, we was talking about the rise of misogyny. You know? Yeah. Does this not kind of relate to that, point to that? Because
certainly.
Because I said the rising tide lifts the ship. Yeah. And this, for the couple of days after that news came out, I thought it was one of those fake news, and I still think it's fake news. Yeah. But it just took another light, and there were so many verified accounts. I don't mean dudes who are paying money to get blue tick. Those ones are really pathetic.
Yeah, quite high profile people who
major news outlets and major American social media outlets that were running this news. So that gave me an impression that it was verified to an extent. But following that, it just went out of control. Men. The women have been silent, and they've been calling out women. Why are you silent now?
No. But I think the women have been silent because also, and I think sometimes in these situations, because for me, right, when I looked at it and I saw that Hakimi had rape allegation, all this, I was like, oh God, take him to the cleaners, girl. Not from any, because I was like, okay. I felt no sympathy.
So when I first heard the news, I didn't think much. I just thought...
Because I really wanted to know what's the reason for the divorce.
I just thought he didn't do it. My first impression was, if I was going to tweet on that issue, I thought he didn't do it because of... I thought he did it to protect his assets. Because footballers have done this. People like Messi, Rooney, they've done things to protect their assets. When you earn that sort of amount, you don't want the government to just take everything. Yeah. You know what I mean? I saw my P60 the other day, and I don't even earn... I earn less than 0.0000% of the earnings a day. But I was shocked what the government took from our P60. I'm like, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So if I earned 500,000, I would be looking for ways to protect my income.
Rightly so.
If that meant I will
think
will half of it to my goats, I don't care, to protect my assets. So I thought he did it to protect that. Unfortunately, this happened. I didn't believe that he did it because of
directly because of his divorce.
The lady is rich as well.
Yeah, exactly. Which is another thing that people failed. All the people that were talking about online, I think they failed to consider that his wife isn't destitute. She's actually equally worth. I mean, she's worth 3 million. Well, not as much as him.
But was she right to go to court and ask for, or is any woman right to go to court and ask for 50-50?
I think people don't understand, especially when it comes to divorce law. I think sometimes there's a misunderstanding of how the law operates, because you know that if you're going through a divorce, right, and you can afford legal advice, you go to your lawyer and your lawyer will tell you that these are your rights based on your circumstances. So essentially, like, you're going with what your lawyer is advising you to do. So if you go and you're going through like a divorce and your lawyer advises you that your husband is worth this much, and because of the status of your marriage and the fact that you have kids and you've done this and this and that, the starting point, especially in the UK, is 50-50. So if that is the case, and if that is your legal right, why would you not pursue that?
So she would have gotten advice from
of course,
from a legal expert.
Of course.
So,
and as your your legal advisor is going to look out for your best interest as their client. And in some cases where you might get somebody come to you and they're like, oh, I don't really want anything, we might advise them against it and be like, nah, you should. Like, this is something.
So there's been cases where women will say they don't want anything.
Yeah, and you have to, and you have to advise them that you need to look after your interest. Like, you need to think about this from a logical.
So the devils in this situation are the lawyers. Eh?
I mean, it might be, and this is so I don't like it when people like to demonize. But if you know what your rights are, I don't understand why you wouldn't enforce those rights.
To the detriment of another person?
How?
You said that was fair because he didn't seek legal advice at the time, or.
But here's the thing: the unfortunate thing is that you just kind of have to. That's the world that we're in. So you need to make sure that you're armed with the information that you need in life, because I say this: human beings, regardless of who it is, you kind of just have to expect them to do, like, everybody's looking out for their own personal interest.
Exactly, I believe that, because I always say it's a jungle out there.
It is.
Protected. I call relationships transactional. You know, I always
say. Of course, and it is.
You need to protect your interests.
Yeah.
I haven't said that though. That's not what I do.
Of course, but that's a personal decision. But because you choose not to do that, doesn't mean that the next person.
Right for us to say that's what Hakimi did. He was looking out for his own interest, protecting his own interest in a jungle system.
Like, if I said this, if his sole reason, for putting the assets in his mother's name was because he was was purely because of a mechanism to avoid paying tax, right? I can understand why he would do it. And here's the thing: if he did it solely because of the divorce, then of course I don't even think, from a legal perspective, I don't expect that being. I don't think that's an enforceable.
Yeah, that's according to that French journalist. He thought, if he did it for the sole purpose of that, then it's illegal.
It's illegal. It won't hold water at all. So. Because, like, in the UK, there's something called a transaction as an undervalue, and typically they'll just set it aside.
Yeah. So, do you think if the case fell apart in Spain or wherever they are, France, will she be able to come over to England? And because the king from
to be fair, but do you know what's so funny, right? Is that the UK actually does have a reputation for being a divorce capital.
Yeah.
So people do travel. People travel to the UK.
So she can come here and put a case through.
I mean, the people do it though.
We're not providing any.
No, we're not.
I should stand on the side.
No, we're not. But what I am saying is that it's quite, like, people do it. And remember, like, there's been where, like, people, because the UK has quite generous divorce laws, so people do tend to. It's open to you. Why not?
So would you say this whole noise from a lot of men, is it just sheer ignorance, or they're just being nasty, or is it narcissism?
Do you know what it is, right? I think it's definitely narcissism and a bit of misogyny as well. Because if you think about it, it's like, oh my God, how dare she, as a woman, be entitled to 50% when she hasn't worked for it, quote unquote. And it's like, okay, yes, fair enough. She may have not been out in the field, like training with him, doing whatever, but there's value in what she's added to the family unit. even if she wasn't in the gym shooting with him, I think they made that statement regarding when
it was Rick Ross who said that.
Yeah, just because she wasn't in the gym shooting with him doesn't mean that she hasn't added value to the relationship. And it's just that automatically everybody is assuming that she hasn't added any value. And what is she bringing to the table that she deserves 50%?
And some are even saying she's a whole person anyway.
Yeah.
She wanted to
and that she's a gold digger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is the basis of this argument? Why is there an automatic assumption?
Well, don't you think over time, because...
Especially for women.
Because of marriages that have gone that way, and the battles at courts sometimes has been really nasty, and the women tend to really benefit on top of the 50% they get the maintenance fee. You know, America exposed these anyway, because the British courts, they're quite quiet about this.
It does. No.
Not until you look for those stories.
Because it's a private proceedings, isn't it?
They're like tabloid news, so it's always there. So some lady almost took, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, to the cleaners. It happens to a lot of American footballers, and majority of them are blacks. So that's why I asked that question. Probably it's ignorance, because you don't hear that mostly about the white footballers. It seems like they have access to proper legal advice and accountants advising them how to protect their wealth. But the black players are always in trouble with their women. Any little thing, they take them to the cleaners and they become broke. So that could be where the anger is coming from. Don't you think the system is very, very unjust and it's time to really look?
See, I don't know if it's the system being unjust. If you're not financially savvy, that is on you, and you have to take responsibility for that. And I think when you start earning above a certain salary, I don't think you have an excuse not to, because you can afford these fees. Okay. Like you can easily.
So prenups are the way to go, or what?
I mean, it depends. It's dependent on your relationship, but also you have to then also consider the enforceability of the prenup in the jurisdiction or wherever you live.
Okay, now.
So it's not automatic.
You're married. Me and you were married. Yeah?
Yes.
We were married for 10 years, and we both work. And somehow, I happened to come across some huge money through some business or contracts, about £5 million, and then you break up with me the next year. What do you expect I should give to you from that money? You gonna take me to the cleaners for that?
Oh my God! Why am I gonna take you to the cleaners?
Yes, because realize now that I'm not.
Do you have kids together?
Because we were earning we were under the 45K salary.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go seek any advice on that.
Yeah.
Because that ain't enough to pay a lawyer. So now we have money.
Yeah.
And we finally think, you know what, I don't like you anymore because I got money.
Yeah.
So we have kids together too. So what's going to happen? Because I didn't sign anything.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? It's not that I want to take you to the cleaners, right? Not necessarily. But I think that now you have this money, right? You should be able to, or you should want to, in my opinion, to look after the mother of your children. Why would you not want to look after the mother of your children? Why would you not want her to have a comfortable lifestyle?
Really
that's what I just don't understand.
You were talking
especially if you can.
Well, you were talking about the human nature of being in the jungle. Is
Yeah.
What about the selfish side of a human? So 5 million.
And in that case,
I've got to sort this D out.
Yeah.
And I've got 5 million. Now I'm saying it's time for you to roll, Nanda.
And in that case,
I say, I'll take care of you, but I want to give you £1 million, you and the kids. And you then turn around and say, that's not enough. I want 4.
When you say for me and the kids, right? Let's work out the maths.
It's one, but
no.
£1 million.
Yeah. So what? That's in cash, you're giving me £1 million in cash. For me, I should take the 1 million. Are you going to pay for the rent? Are you going to pay for the mortgage?
What rent and what mortgage?
I'm just asking you.
From that 1 million, you could go buy yourself a decent house.
Okay, I buy myself a decent house, but the running cost of the house, the kids are going to need things.
You still have your day-to-day job.
I'm still working.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably will still seek that 1 million. I probably use to go and get legal advice and see if I've gotten a fair deal.
Exactly. So that go seek legal advice is where guys are very hungry. That 1 million should be enough. Just go, man. You didn't
but here's the thing. Why should I have to accept you just giving me £1 million? I don't understand why.
Money is not yours.
But here's the thing. I think people keep forgetting that there is when you decide to get married, Like there's a pooling of resources. And I think especially, even if we're going to think about it purely in terms of this is money that you've made during the marriage, right? Let's say it's marriage. And why would you want to exclude money that you've made during your marriage? I don't understand that.
That's why I said it.
Because
that's why I said
regardless of, let's say that I have not played any part. And I think it's very hard for anybody to say that your partner hasn't played any role in you acquiring some sort of wealth, even if it's them, right? Looking after the kids so that you can go out and work longer hours. They're still contributing something. And I think sometimes you kind of just have to consider that. But I think we're so focused.
I think that's what they consider in the course. Yeah. So I'm just
we're just so focused on looking at
so that people out there will understand that this is what happens. They look into everything.
Everything, like every single contribution.
By myself.
No, but let's if I gave up my job, which most women do, which is a fact, they go on maternity leave, or for a number of years they cut back on their career so that so that somebody's there to look after the children. How do you quantify these sacrifices? I think that these sacrifices are unquantifiable. And for people to then sit there and turn around and be like, yeah, well, she wasn't working, so how can she be entitled to half? But if she wasn't working, how would you have been able to be out in the office till like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. working late? If she wasn't at home looking after the kids? So all of these things also need to be factored in. I think it's because society just doesn't value the work that mothers do. And I think that's also the other issue. Because if we did value it, we wouldn't be having these conversations.
Interesting. I hope Nigerian men are listening, because majority of them are Nigerian men. and
they're having a field day on Twitter.
I see a lot of them queuing up to collect their £100, £50 they put in their mother's name. Pretty sure they're renaming their mothers as next of kin now.
Next of kin, yeah.
And people are also saying your wife is not your family, your mother and your sisters are. How do you explain that?
Well,
my wife is not my family member.
I think my answer to that is that go and marry your mother and your sister.
Jesus. Go marry. Guys, go and marry your mother and your sister. Exactly. And I'll go back to what Sigmund Freud said, and people castigated him at the time. I just thought everything is just come full circle. Yeah. It's exactly what he said. Yeah. You want to run back to get back into your mother.
Yeah, the Oedipus complex.
Mother, so to speak, because that's the kind of person you want to be submissive all-rounder for you. So it tells a lot. It's proven in science. It's all happening again. So what's your advice to women out there when they meet Nigerian men? I'm identifying Nigerian men because
you're drawing them out. No, I think, so this is going to be my first advice. In most cases, right, you won't find yourself in the situation that Hakimi is in, because the vast majority of the men that you encounter will not be making this money anyway. So I think it's misplaced, in my opinion, misplaced priorities. Okay, get your money up and then we can have this conversation.
And when you have money,
be smart about it. And the most important thing, get legal advice. Literally get legal advice.
Nigerian man, man.
Yes.
So this whole issue about the new hero for man, he's not a hero, is he?
He's not a hero, not in my eyes anyway.
He's not come out to say anything.
But the thing is that we, at the moment, right, I feel like it's pure speculation.
And the shameful thing is, how old is he?
24. He's a young man.
Baby.
He's a baby.
He's a real baby. Look, put it into perspective. 24 only just left uni. Or they stay in uni, right?
No, probably just left.
Uni.
Probably like, depending
getting
on how.
Getting a first job.
Probably.
Google or McDonald's.
Yeah.
They're still doing HMO properties. It just happened that this guy is a footballer.
Yeah.
It's a sport that we pay.
Of course,
into.
Yeah.
So he absolutely at 24, you don't know nothing.
I agree.
Even at 45 and 50, you still don't know much. So his financial prowess is not there. His acumen to manage these things is not there.
No, not at all.
We don't even know if the mom was a retired accountant.
No, we don't.
Or a retired lawyer, or somebody who's worked in business and said, look, son, I know all these things. You know I manage.
Let me do it on your behalf.
Let me do this. So you put everything in my name and blah, blah, blah.
I guess we don't know the backstory.
Yeah, we don't know. But again, with headlines, headlines are catchy. They draw out the mob. And
of course,
this headline is done that successfully. I don't think anyone is finding time to really go read about go beyond the headlines to read what's really happening. I think a day or two later, they started to do so, and people started to come back with saying the guy had an alleged rape case.
Yeah.
And they were saying it's not proven until it's proven. Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, there is
alleged. That's
enough
to dent the woman's reputation.
There is a lot happening. Yeah, she's an actress.
Well.
Yeah, and a
she
model.
don't want that to be tapped
possibly.
She's got her own management team who would say we don't want that.
Of course, because PR. You have to think about your PR, especially when you're in the entertainment industry.
I think this is open up a can of worms for Hakimi himself, because now the government is aware that you actually put everything in your mother's name, so they could reach that far and say, is that enough? I don't know.
Oh, well, it depends, because I think whether it's tax evasion or tax avoidance, isn't it?
So is it legal to say, I earn all this money? How does it work? Does it mean that PSG pays his mother? Or?
I honestly don't know.
Is it PSG, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I can't remember.
I honestly don't know.
He's in one of its clubs.
Yeah.
So does it mean they pay his mother? Or?
I really don't know how this whole...
Because if that's the case, I might ask my employer to start paying somebody else. So I can avoid paying King Charles sometimes. Who knows? I don't know if I can do that. I don't earn that much to do that. So exactly what I'm saying. So the headlines are there.
Yeah.
And from following that headlines, we just jumped into it. There is a new hero. What Adam couldn't do in the Garden of Eden, he's done it for us. And you have other figures who have been very controversial, saying he's a new hero for man, and this is the way forward for men. But he's actually not come out to say anything. So what's your final words for men? What's my final words for men? And for women. And for women. That's actually like a very, very good question. My final words will be, get your money up. Be financially savvy, of course. And also, get legal advice. But I think that would be my final, and don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone, get legal advice, and be financially savvy. I think and get it's a very valid advice. And I like the one about, what's the last one you said? Well, get your money up. Get your money up. Legal advice. Don't trust anyone. Yeah, that trust, I think that's the key. And be financially savvy. I have very low expectations of people. I think you should start from there as well. Yeah. No matter what, just have that in the back of your mind. Of course, yeah. Isn't that sinister? You go into a relationship and you have that at the back of your mind. Like, I'm not going to trust this person. The person who's going to become the mother of your children. You know what? The father of your children. I say this all the time, but I think it's also a really hard one and a tough one. Also, I think you just have to weigh it up and understand that you can't put anything past anyone. Well, this is not a new phenomenon. I think during King Henry's time, when the whole marriage institution came about, it was also to protect their wealth and inheritance. Because nobody really cared about marriage at the time. Yeah. But to protect their inheritance for the first wife and the first wife's children, like a male child, that's when the marriage institution came about. It wasn't always there. Nobody went to a church to ask for a priest to bless the wedding or went to a local authority. It wasn't there. It's in the books. We can go research that. So to protect their wealth and inheritance at the time and their hereditary, they brought about the marriage institution. So I guess it's also about understanding what that whole marriage institution stands for. Stands for, yeah, definitely. And if you then understand it's all transactional, then you will know, like you said, be wise about this and seek advice. And if you earn that sort of money, I'm not saying if you earn peanuts, don't waste your time. Because you won't even have enough money to pay. You're wasting your money. So, your lawyers will eat your money. I think we just end it there. So, word of advice, man. Seek legal advice, trust no one, and be financially savvy. Know what you're doing. If you have that kind of money anyway. If you don't, forget about it. Get your money up. If you don't get it, forget about it.